Insane moments on paternity court.
Even after you found out that he was married, you should have left him alone.
Okay.
Come on, like what kind of woman are you? Who does that? Now you got a baby. Not only that, you don't even know who your baby daddy is.
Took a DNA test before he started paying child support. Have Lil in the pull, bring your legs up. Look here, see how white I am? Look how white I am. Pull your pants leg up, Lil.
Miss Lena is hoping that she wouldn't have to pay the price for her mistakes, but most importantly, that it won't affect her baby daughter, Christina. Miss Lima slept with Mr. Anderson, a married man who wants to show he's not Christina's father, or his marriage will go up in flames.
It all started from a Facebook message when Mr. Anderson was messaging me on Facebook. So we started being friends online for about a year and a half. Then out of the blue one day, he called me and said, let's go out for dinner. So I was like, okay, well, I'm not doing anything, so why not? We went out to dinner and we got a hotel room that night. We had sex.
Just one moment, ma'am.
Oh boy, so Mr. Anderson has a whole closet of secrets. He was having a secret relationship with Miss Lima for almost a year, and then Mrs. Anderson found out. Even Miss Lima didn't know that the guy was married.
I decided to go out and take Miss Lima out one night. We had sex that night.
Was it one night or was it a year?
Well, it was one night, and then she come telling me that, she's pregnant, she having a baby, and she says mine, she wanted to be my baby and all that type of stuff.
So, how does Mr. Anderson react when Miss Lima shows up to his doorstep claiming she's pregnant and the baby is his? Well, he doesn't take it lightly and starts talking about how he's got nothing to do with this baby and he just wants to make things right with his wife and kids.
When you find out you're pregnant, who do you tell?
I went to Mr. Anderson at first. I went to his family.
So you did sleep with another man during the window of conception during that time?
Correct.
And you were sleeping with both men without protection?
Correct.
So how did you finally get in touch with him?
Well, I got in touch with him later, we met up and we had sex again when I was around 4 months pregnant.
The worst part is that Mrs. Anderson is in the court right there, and she has to bear through the pain of going through this again. As if the cheating itself wasn't bad enough. It's revealed that Mr. Anderson had 5 kids with his wife, but not just that, they had a business together.
Even after you found out that he was married, you should have left him alone.
Okay.
And I try to keep it together for my children. But it really, really hurts. And just to know that there could be another baby in my family, come on.
But it seems that even Miss Lima isn't telling the court the entire truth. When she was seeing Mr. Anderson, she confessed she once went behind his back and slept with someone else. So now the question is, does she really know who the father of her baby is?
When you look at your child, do you feel like she looks like one man or the other?
Mr. Anderson has a child that she looks exactly like her, the way her eyes
You know what his
is.
kids look like?
Yes.
She been around my children. Are you serious?
Wait a minute. When?
Are you serious?
I'm on sometimes, he'll come meet me with the kids with him.
Mrs. Anderson has tears streaming down her face, and Mr. Anderson apologizes to her. But the simple fact is that no sorry in the world can fix her broken heart right now. Mr. Anderson claims he's never seen baby Christina in his life. But can he really be trusted?
Ms. Lima, do you feel like one man or the other?
Mr. Anderson has a child that she looks exactly like her,
Her daughter looks like some of your children if she's never seen them.
She must be passing by and
No.
stalking, stuff like that.
Damn! Mr. Anderson has a lot of lies up his sleeve. Miss Lima reveals she thinks that her daughter resembles some of his kids. And then Mrs. Anderson blows up knowing this. Judge Lauren calls the entire situation a nightmare. Well, guess it's time enough now to know the truth.
Mr. Anderson, you are not her father.
It's going to be an insane moment when a 32-year-old comes to court searching for the truth about his father. In the case of Mr. Bradley, he's found the perfect candidate of who could be his father, but Mr. Tessiner firmly denies all these claims.
Bradley, you say for 19 years you've wondered, who is my father?
Yes, Your Honor.
And you're hoping today's DNA test solves your intricate family mystery. Mr. Tessiner, you claim you are 100% sure you are not Mr. Bradley's father.
Yes, Your Honor.
You say another man is on his birth certificate and paid child support.
The reason why Mr. Tessiner thinks he's not the father is because of a lot of reasons. According to him, Mr. Bradley doesn't look like him at all. But the most insane reason is that he's too tan. Plus, the conception dates don't add up. Maybe lead with that one instead of 210.
Explain to the court why you're so sure you're not Mr. Bradley's father.
I remember pulling over on the side road one time to make out. I cannot even remember having sex with her, and I never knew that she was pregnant or that a baby was born.
Never.
Never.
So what convinced Mr. Bradley that this man is his father? Well, it was his aunt who told him that his mother hadn't been very honest with him. Miss Bradley is in court as well, and Judge Lauren asks her questions about her relationship with Mr. Tessner.
You, of course, remember having a relationship with Mr. Tessner.
Yeah.
He says he knew nothing about you being pregnant or anything. What happened during that time when you found out you were pregnant?
I had told Mr. Tessner that I was pregnant.
But it looks like Mr. Bradley holds a lot of resentment against his mother. He claims she knew who his father was, but deliberately hid it from him. On top of that, she got another man to get his name printed on his birth certificate, which sounds pretty fishy.
The other man is paying child support and even going to jail for failure to pay it.
Yes.
I think he looks like the other man, and I heard that the other man took a DNA test before he started paying child support. Have Lil to pull his britchy legs up. Look here, see how white I am? Look how white I am. Pull your pants leg up, Lil.
But Mr. Tessner has a theory of his own. He thinks that the man who signed the birth certificate was the biological father, and that's why he agreed on paying child support. But when he didn't, they sent him to jail. It feels like these two are just uprooting his life for no reason.
When I was 18, I made her go pick him up, and I told him in the car that I was not his son. She said, when y'all started dating, Anita was already pregnant with him.
So she told you point blank?
Point blank. She said, I told you so. Because I seen her later on at my great-grandmother's funeral, or the one I thought was my great-grandmother.
Now, the secrets just keep coming out. Mr. Tessner thinks that Miss Bradley is a liar, but on top of that, he starts pointing fingers at Mr. Bradley too, and says that he's lying just like his mother. Turns out he helped Mr. Bradley get a house. But why would he do that if he's not his son?
And why would somebody else
if I ever owe you anything,
mine?
as far as child support, I'll be glad to pay that back.
Why would somebody else be paying if he's mine?
Or he go to jail, which he did do at some point.
And that's what really made me mad about the whole thing was me seeing him in jail. You can't give a man his freedom back.
Miss Bradley's poor memory and unreliable stories have created too much of a mess that even Judge Lauren doesn't know who to believe. Meanwhile, Mr. Bradley just wants to know the truth about his father, and it's just about the time to reveal the results.
It has been determined that Mr. Tessner are his father.
Now, this one's a pretty wild one because the actual guy involved can't come to the court. Why? Because he's under arrest. Miss Williams has come to prove that Mr. Adams is the father of her baby, but it's not her fault he's going to jail.
Enlighten me on this situation. You were in a relationship with Miss Williams?
No, I really wouldn't call it no relationship. You know, I met her at a house party. She tried to have sex with me on the first date, so that was a judge of character right there.
But you weren't in a committed relationship?
No, Your Honor.
Because Mr. Adams can't leave his state, he sent his mother, Tanya Adams, to defend him instead. Miss Williams tells the court the truth. While she was sleeping around with Mr. Adams, she had been seeing other men as well.
Me and my ex was still trying to make things work, and we were still messing around. You know, me and my ex both thought like, oh, you're the father or whatever, so we just went through that whole year. I was pregnant. I didn't mention him about the baby until I found out it wasn't my ex.
It's so irresponsible how Miss Williams has taken care of this matter, because it's put Mr. Adams under great jeopardy now. She says she never forced any fatherly duties onto him and just wanted him to get a DNA test. But how come he got arrested for not paying child support?
Another situation, we was in a department store and I seen her. She was with a guy. She was around 9 months pregnant. And I asked her to sit down and talk to me for a minute. She said, I'm positive that that's not your son's child.
Did you tell her that, Miss Williams?
No, that's a lie. She never seen me when I was pregnant.
Yes, I did.
It's turning into a big fat mess, especially with how Tanya seems to have a lot of proof of Miss Williams lying and excuses. According to Tanya, she heard Miss Williams claim several times that the baby boy, John, wasn't Mr. Adams' son, and they didn't have to worry about it at all. But she turned things around.
It's not his.
Yes.
But you understand why this could make her doubtful.
Yes, I do.
And she letting everybody babysit while she go to the strip club ain't doing her no
Again.
good. Because I babysitted the child and she didn't come get me for 2 days.
Listen.
Really?
So the chaos started when Miss Williams thought that the baby was her ex's, but when they got a DNA test, it came back negative. At the same time, she had told Mr. Adams the baby wasn't his. Then, when the tests came back negative, she went back to Mr. Adams. But by then, he had grown suspicious.
Do you understand why she then came to you, or you feel like there's other people in the picture as well?
Well, actually, Your Honor, I do feel like it was other people as well.
What evidence do you have to suggest that?
My mother told me that she talked to Miss Williams and that Miss Williams stated that she had some other guys tested as well.
But then, Mr. Adams began to receive documents asking him that he had to pay $99 each month for child support. He felt angry that he was being asked to pay for a kid who he knew for sure he hadn't fathered.
Basically, I was walking to the store to get some cigarettes. Police just ran our names. Now, I didn't even know I had a warrant. So I gave them my name proud, like, you know, I'm Lassiter Adams. You know, I ain't think I had no warrant. Come to find out, he come back to me like, oh, Mr. Adams, you got a warrant for child support. I'm like, what? And next thing you know, he put me in the back of the car in handcuffs.
All of this could have been avoided if only Mr. Adams had taken things in life a little more seriously and shown up for that DNA test. Tanya and Miss Williams keep going back and forth, throwing insults in each other's faces, so the only way to settle this is to open that good old envelope and put this to rest.
It has been determined that Mr. Adams is not the father.
Take me off child support, baby.
Mr. Adams, you done come to the wrong courtroom clowning. This is not a joke.
Mr. Johnson seems to be in the mood of some big decisions, and right now, it's his relationship with his fiancée that's hanging on the line. According to him, her daughter Camila was fathered by her ex-boyfriend, and if the DNA tests show that, it's the end for them.
Mr. Johnson, you claim you are here today with a relationship on the line. Now, you are convinced your fiance's 8-month-old daughter, Camila, was fathered by her ex-boyfriend and not you. If the DNA results prove your deepest fears are true, you say you plan to leave her and never look back.
Well, this is a pretty strange story. They weren't even together for that long, and Miss Quintero was already switching from one man to another. When Mr. Johnson couldn't come see apartments with her, Miss Quintero decided to go with her ex, of all people.
So, during the window of conception, did you have sex with Mr. Johnson and your ex?
Yeah.
Okay, so in a nutshell, that's why we're here. All right, what are you holding?
I just had a calendar. It just states when Cammie was born, and the 2 months at the top is midway when me and Maria started talking in March, and February was the month when she was with her ex.
According to Mr. Johnson, the conception window points towards the ex being the father. But then Miss Quintero reveals an important fact. The baby was supposed to be born on December 13th, 2013, but she came a month early. Now, this changes things.
Do you believe what this calendar represents?
Yeah.
And so?
I mean, sorry to interrupt you. Her due date was December 13th. She was born a month and a half early.
Okay.
Yeah.
So in your estimation, you feel like if she was born around the projected due date, then that would have put the calculation back in the months when you two were back together.
Turns out, despite Miss Quintero already telling Mr. Johnson the truth about being with her ex, he decided to be the better man and show up for his woman and his future child. He supported her during the entire pregnancy and was even present during birth just so he wouldn't have regrets later.
Up until recently, I'm at work and I have people coming up to me like, hey, you know, your girlfriend was with this guy at this time.
What do people at work know about your business?
Oh, well, I publicly display my daughter, and everybody in our community pretty much knows Maria was with that other guy a long time.
Miss Quintero even submits to the court a hilarious Facebook post where there's a picture of Mr. Johnson sticking his tongue out just how Camila does. Miss Quintero even claims that the baby looks a lot like Mr. Johnson. But the question is if Mr. Johnson holds any kind of regret in his heart.
So do you regret signing the birth certificate before you knew whether or not she was your biological child?
No, I don't, because of the fact, like I stated, I would hate to have missed out on that, being there all that time. And two, me and Miss Quintero actually spoke about it before the lady came in with the birth certificate. And I told her that I was willing to sign it. So then no, I don't really regret that at all.
The thing that confuses Miss Quintero is that even though Mr. Johnson had all these doubts, he stayed with her through this whole ordeal. But now he's engaged to her and suddenly putting the entire relationship on the line. What's on his mind?
I didn't want to sit here and waste my time judging Miss Quintero instead of sitting there, going to my doctor's appointments, being there for the child, because what if later on, I just didn't know if later on, if I had, if I missed all of that.
And whenever the two of them get into an argument, he ends up bringing up Camila and saying that he denies her as his daughter. Well, Mr. Johnson might be a good man, but that's not the right way to do things. Guess only the results can clear the air now.
Mr. Johnson, you are her father.
Oh, man.
Can I get a hug?
I'm sorry.